Okay, so you'll need a drain pan, low range torque wrench, no more than 200 inch pounds. You'll need 89 inch pounds specifically. 10 millimeter socket, an extension is good. A ratchet, an 8 millimeter socket, flathead screwdriver, nylon brush, throttle body cleaner, and some rags or paper towels. So first you're just going to pull out this recirculation line. It just pulls right out. Pull it out straight. Do not bend when you're bend it or twist it as you're pulling out. Just pull straight out. Now we're going to take out this hose clamp here for this air duct. It's 8 millimeter, and you should just screw right out, and then you just pull it out like that. Now this is the hardest part, in my opinion, of this whole job, is trying to get to this 8 millimeter here. It's not terribly hard. It's just awkward. Gotta kind of reach around with both arms. So you can see there's another air duct right at the bottom there, and there's a hose clamp, an 8 millimeter hose clamp. So you just got to put your ratchet on there and kind of work it around. Sorry I couldn't get a better angle for it, and nor I know I'll be blocking it a bit. It just unfortunately just kind of goes with it. It's just the spot that it's in. I know it's an awkward angle, so sorry about that. But once it's loose, it's just a matter, you just kind of lift it and pull straight up. You can kind of twist slightly as you pull up, and that'll kind of just kind of get it off of the throttle body itself. Still loosening it here. Checking now, make sure it looks all good. And then you can see I just kind of twist as I pull, and it comes straight off. And then there's two kind of plugs with grommets on the back, and you just lift that straight out, and that whole kind of air duct air box kind of comes out there. And you can see the two grommets there, and there's the two plugs they attach to. So now we're going to take out the throttle body plug down here. It's got a red lock, so just get a flathead or a trim tool. It's kind of awkward to do because the fan's there. Do be careful. You may want to disconnect the battery because you don't want that fan to accidentally kick in. So just kind of loosen that. Push the little button once you get the red clip loose and pull it out. It's a little awkward to do, but just get in there with my hand and push the button and pull right out. You can see there's the red lock. And there's the button. There's the button. And once you push that, see, just kind of lifts off and you just pull out. So now you're going to take out these 4 bolts. There's no particular order to take out the bolts. They're to the 10 millimeters. You can see I'm just saying a star pattern. That's the safest way to do it, and definitely what you will be doing when you're tightening it. Loosening doesn't matter quite as much, but I still follow the star pattern regardless. And all I really do is kind of crack the bolts loose first with my ratchet, and once it is cracked loose, then I will loosen them out by hand. They're fairly long bolts, but easy to come out. They're just they're not like heavy duty bolts or anything like that. So I'm just going to remove one to show you, and then you do the same for the other 3. Then I'll bother when I show you all 4 because it's the exact same thing. So I just pull out the one. You can see how long it is there. And yeah, do the same for the other 3. Now once that's done, you take off the throttle body. Good time to take a look and see what it looks like. I should mention, now's a good time to change your throttle body gasket. I didn't change mine, but it would be a good time to get one. But if you're going to do this job and replace it, make sure when you do put it, whether you keep the same one or you replace it, like I said, you should, make sure it sits in the groove correctly. Alright, so now we're going to inspect it. This one actually looks pretty good. This car is low mileage. Kind of doing it at the recommendation of the owner who wanted to get it done. But you can see it's got some buildup, but it's not so bad. Now, when you're spraying it on here and you kind of use your nylon brush to clean it, I kind of remember, throttle body cleaner, I don't know if you know or not, it dries really quickly. So when you do spray it, you want to just focus on small areas. I normally focus on the butterfly first, spray, use a nylon brush to scrub it, then use a paper towel to clean it up, and then rinse and repeat. You can do that again and again and again until it gets nice and clean. And I just normally focus on, small areas at the time. Pretty satisfying to watch if you ask me, as you see it get clean and you see that carbon just kind of leak off there and it starts looking kind of shiny and new. I kind of like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of keep going with that. This one doesn't look too bad though. Even looking around here, you can see it's not bad at all. Now, I edited this down significantly. Actually, not significantly. It only took me about 8 minutes from when I started to clean to when I finished to clean. Not for the whole job, just the cleaning portion of it. It didn't take very long at all, but I did edit it down because a lot of it's just the same thing. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Also, notice how I moved the butterfly flap, right? You can actually move it, but just be gentle with it. It's a low-range motor. It's not very powerful. And if you push it too hard or push it too far, you can damage it and then damaging your throttle body. So you can move it a little bit, just be careful. And just make sure you do not move it when it's still connected to the car. So why would you want to do this? So as this carbon kind of builds up on the throttle body, it actually starts affecting the fuel economy. You get loss of power. You can get a rough idle. And if the carbon gets thick enough, it can actually cause enough resistance. Look at that. That looks pretty good, huh? It causes enough resistance to actually cause the motor to fail in the throttle body. So this little job here, I mean, on this car here, it took me, I think, beginning to end about 20 minutes to do. And for a 20-minute job and for very minimal investment, you can actually get a good fuel economy out of it, good power. Depending how dirty it is, you may see a slight improvement or you may see a major improvement. So as you can see, I finished pretty much the butterfly flap. So now I'm working on the inner body of the plenum itself, just cleaning all of that and getting it look as good as possible. I was just working it in, cleaning as much as I can around the areas. Starting to look a lot better already. You can see, look, that's a pretty good shine on it if you ask me. It's in really good condition. The longer you leave something like this, when you do clean it, it won't look as shiny because the carbon will actually etch in, and no matter what you do after that, it will not clean back out. It'll just be permanent. It's just permanently part of, it's stained the butterfly flap and stuff. So you do want to, every once in a while, give it a good clean. This car, when I'm doing it right now, is about 55,000 kilometers. So very good mileage for 2015 Equinox, which is the car I'm using for this video. It's actually very, very low mileage. So I just did kind of a final spray down and clean up, no nylon brush or anything, just to kind of give it a final, I guess you could say, detailing. Now, when you're installing this, you do want to use that star pattern I talk about, your crossover pattern. When you're putting the bolts in initially, it doesn't matter quite as much. You're just lining up the bolts. And even if you go to just beforehand tight, that's not a big deal. It's when you do the final tightening, that's when it matters. In this case here, all the bolts do tighten to 89 inch-pounds. I want to specify that it's not foot-pounds, it's inch-pounds. So you want to make sure you are tightening that to the correct specification. So right now I'm going to hand tight. One. We'll do the same for all four, using the star pattern now, right? Because even going to hand tight, you want to make sure you do star pattern, allows it to seat correctly, it doesn't seat uneven or anything like that. Make sure you also, when you put it in, that throttle body gasket is sitting correctly. Has it moved or lifted or anything like that, right? That could affect how it kind of sits against the intake manifold. All right, and now we get my torque wrench set to 89 inch-pounds. Just going to tighten each of those up. Now after this, we get to, well, actually, first, next thing we got to do is we got to put that connector on. So make sure when you plug in your your throttle body connector right here, you plug it in and make sure you push in that red lock too. You can see it right there. Just make sure it's in. Now, this also is kind of the tricky part, is putting that air box, that kind of air cover back on, because it's getting to that email. Again, not hard, just a little awkward. So first we're going to line up the back, the grommets against the plugs, and make sure we put that in and it goes in correctly and kind of snaps in. And then when you push down on the air box, you just kind of twist as you push down to get it onto the throttle body. So you kind of rock it a little, actually. Kind of see like that. You just kind of rock it back and forth and make sure it doesn't get hitched up or jammed or anything, and it should just kind of snap into place. And then once that's done, you're going to tighten that up. There's no torque specifications to these hose clamps. So it's just a matter of just, tightening it up until it's good and firm. It cannot be removed off the throttle body. And even when you do the upper part, the air duct to the air box, you want to make sure they're just good and firm. Air can't seep through or anything like that, because that'll also affect how the car operates. So you can see it looks good, not moving at all. Same thing here now. We're going to take the air duct and we're going to put that right onto our air box. And same thing, tighten that to no torque spec, just tighten it. Just tighten it until it's good and firm. Don't over tighten either. I've seen people over tighten them and actually they warp. And then they also, don't work as well. I got an extension. It was kind of awkward to work with just without it, so I just got the extension to make it a little quicker. And then when that's done, you just put that evaporator recirculation line. You just plug that right back in, and you are good to go. All right, so after cleaning this throttle body, I did not need to do any engine relearning procedures. The car just started up and drove okay, no problem, and the car auto-adjusted itself. However, should you need to adjust your throttle body or do a relearn on it, these are the procedures for you. Thank you everyone for watching. I do appreciate all the support out there. Don't forget to throw a like on that video if it helped you, if you found the information useful, anything like that. Make sure to like it. Don't forget to subscribe, help the channel grow, and hit the notification if you want to see more of my videos. If you dislike the video, that's okay, no problem at all, but don't be a troll, alright? Make sure you put why in the comments. I mean, maybe I missed something, maybe I got something wrong, maybe there's something you feel better or you didn't like how I filmed. Whatever it is, put it in there. I make these videos to help people out, so I can only make it better if I get the feedback, but I need the feedback. Just don't be trolling, alright? Otherwise, if you have any other comments, feel free to do so. I answer questions whenever I can. If you want to add something on there, if you have a helpful tip that maybe I didn't cover, I didn't even know about, make sure to put that in the comments as well. I want to thank everyone, and I will see you all next video.